Hey, hello everyone and welcome to Extreme Graphics Tech. My name is Angelo and today I want to talk to you about one of the forgotten cards. What I mean with that is one of those GPUs that you rarely see mentioned anywhere, and I'm not sure why. Well, I think I have a slight idea of why this is, but also I don't understand why this GPU is in the situation it is today. And what I'm talking is, well, you can guess from the title of the video, but also is this little card here. This is the AMD Radeon RX 6800, the non-XT version. When RDNA 2 was announced, this was the lowest end card at the time. There was the 6900 XT, the 6800 XT, and then the 6800. Obviously, over time, the 6600, 6700, and 6500, and even 6400 were announced, but at the time, this was the lowest end card. And what a card this is. I remember getting at the time, because I normally don't go for the top end when it comes to certain cards for the channel, because I don't think that's the more interesting content for many of you. And as of lately, I've been bringing you some tests with old cards, right? Or kind of cheap card like the Intel Arc 750, the RTX 2060, and more recently the 5600 XT. However, what if you are, looking around for, not a new car, not an expensive car, but not a middle to low car, maybe something like middle to high end car? So I think the 6800 is a very good car, and we are going to talk about it after we see these benchmarks. So I'm going to start with Forza Horizon 5 because it's one of the most beautiful games released, and also one of the best optimized ones. And this game, as you can see, is running at 4K extreme preset well over 60 FPS with no problems. This means this is at least doubling the performance of an Xbox Series X, considering that game runs the game at 4K dynamic resolution at 30 FPS. We can see here we're well over that, and with better presets too. This shows you how of a beast this card is, and this is just the first game. When it comes to Cyberpunk 2077, which they added FSR 2.1 today, unfortunately I tested this before the patch. This game is running at 4K FSR quality, which at 4K still looks very good with the high preset, and you can see there that we are going above 70 FPS while driving, which is one of the most intense part of the games. While you are on foot, it's normally a little bit kinder with the GPU depending on the scene, but it's normally at higher frame rate. So you can see you will be able to have an amazing experience, and once again we're running this game at double the performance of any console and at a much more higher resolution. Then obviously, it's being an RDNA 2 card, I had to test this with ray tracing, and we had to lower the resolution to 4040p, keep FSR, but also when activating all ray tracing options, I left off the light because that took the resolution, the performance even to under 40 FPS. So this is, again, you will have to play at 30 FPS if you want to have all the ray tracing options. But that is still significantly better than consoles, considering that you are having all ray trace options active. However, as you can see, right now, if you have a VRR monitor, you can play this around 40 to 60 FPS with no issues whatsoever. Dying Light 2 is a game that everybody knows I love in terms of graphical quality, and at 4K FSR quality, once again using ultra high preset, the game ran no problem whatsoever at more than 60 FPS. And honestly, this is a very good result if we compare it with console, but the card itself, it's showing that it's capable of very high quality graphics and high performance even at 4K, no matter the game we're testing. So here you can honestly see how good this is. You can have a very good experience at 4K no less. So imagine if you buy this car for only 40p gaming, you're going to have very high frame rate, especially if you use FSR. When using ray tracing, once again, this is the AMD Achilles heels, and we can see here that we have to lower the resolution to 1440p, still keep FSR quality, put the game on I put the game on ultra high RT, and as you can see on the top right corner, that the frame is around 40 to 50 FPS. So it's not the best show. You can take out some of the RT options to make the game perform better if you want to have RT, but you know you won't have all the options. However, I still think the game looks phenomenal like this, and as I said, if you have a VRR option, this shouldn't be a problem for just playing the game and enjoying with ray tracing on. This is Modern Warfare 2 that obviously we have to test, and we can see here that the games at 1440p Ultra is running quite well, and it's going to get better once we get into like a gaming view, which you can see we can get up to 100 FPS, no problems whatsoever. I know many people will lower the quality of the game, and you can put the textures to ultra even if you put everything else to low to keep a nice quality. It won't affect your performance because this car comes with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, so it shouldn't be a problem. So as you can see, you will have a very good experience competitive with this game, and Warzone or any of the games derivate from this engine, so that's a good show. Red Dead Redemption 2, even though it runs well at 4K balance, I am not quite convinced that everything is alright. I tested this game many times and I'm not sure if there is something wrong with my system, or I don't know. I have to check other reviews because I feel that these cars should have better performance in this game. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I think we should have gotten like for 60 FPS, because I compare with the 5600 XT at 1440p, and I would have thought that this car will behave much better. It's still not bad. We're almost at 60 FPS, and we can use FSR to maybe iron out one of those of performance, but I don't know. I think this game should have run better. For A Plague Tale Requiem, we know it's one of the most heavy games that there are at the moment. Well, you can see here that we run between 55 and 60 FPS most of the time. Probably if I don't know if I had a better CPU, this will change anything, considering that the GPU is packed at 100% almost all the time, and we are gaming at 1440p high. I didn't test 1440p. Well, I tested, but to me made no sense because still we don't get stable performance. So I prefer to play a high at this point with this car, but this is a very good result if you ask me. Now, well, we get to Spider-Man, and this game, I don't know, the performance is all over the place. Sometimes you are under 60 and then you go up to like 90 to 100 frames per second. I'm not quite sure what's happening here. It's probably a CPU situation. But anyway, with the 6800, you are going to be able to play at 1440p very high with a very good frame rate and performance. So that is going to be, you shouldn't have any problems other than the occasional dip for whatever reason this game is behaving like that. As you can see, the games run very well. It's not always like 100% of the cars, so may that explain what's happening here. Maybe not well optimized for AMD. And when it comes to ray tracing, once again, this goes very badly. I even activated the Insomniac Games temporal injections and the dynamic resolution to try to get the game to 60 FPS, and as you can see, no matter what you do, the game does not get to 60 FPS, even though the GPU is not being fully utilized. You may think that is a CPU problem, and that may be true, but also at the same time, it seems that AMD and the way they calculate ray trace is much more CPU heavy dependent, which makes then the GPU not perform as well as other lower NVIDIA or Intel cards for this matter. So well, there you go. And finally, I tested God of War at 1440p Ultra, and you can see that once again the cards behave very, very good, going all over 80 frames per second, and even at some point I saw over 90 frames per second, so it shouldn't be any problem to play this game on a very good quality with this GPU. Having said all this, you can see that this is a very, very good car for even 4K gaming on some titles. So why is that this car is not being talked more? So as you saw, the 6800 I think is a beast. Let's not forget this car here has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, which makes this car very nice for future proofing, at least in terms of not having to cut any feature based on VRAM. If you want to use the largest amount of textures and the higher quality texture, you will be able to. I have pushed this car to 4K in many cases because, well, that's what this car is supposed to do on some games, but as you can see, you will be able to play almost everything at ultra quality at 1440p, which make this car very, very good. However, I started this video saying this car is sort of forgotten. It's in a missing. This is in a weird place, and the reason I say this is because you see many tests with 6800 XT, 6900, and the recent 6950 XT, and even 6600. But what about the 6800 non-XT version, and why this car seems to have been forgotten by AMD and everyone else? Well, it's because I don't know if this car is still in production and what is being sold is all cars they are trying to recoup the money, or what's going on. Because when I was looking for prices for this car new, they make absolutely no sense whatsoever. So starting with the UK prices, let me tell you that this car, the cheapest one I could find on Scan, which is one of the most important PC resellers here in the UK, the cheapest one you can get is cost £647, okay, which is a high price. It's more expensive than when it actually came out. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that you can get another 6800 XT for £634, which is around £30 less for 50 to 20% more performance. So this makes absolute no sense. Who is going to buy this instead of the more performing 6800 XT? What is worse is that the next car to call in away, 6800 XT, the cheapest one, costs £700, while the next cheapest car on the website, and is a refurbished one for the 6800, costs £799. So then I decided, wow, this must be some weird thing happening in the UK. I went to check like Newegg and Micro Center at the United States, and even though yes, the 6800 is not more expensive than the 6800 XT, the difference between the cheapest model seems to be around $30 to $40. So why are you going to buy this car? And this is for me the problem of why this car is not more popular, because the pricing make no sense. But why this is, I don't know. Is this a car that AMD just don't want to exist anymore? Because this car is very efficient, very powerful, and you can play anything on it as we just tested. So what's going on with this car? I would like somebody to, if they have an answer. Is this not produced anymore? Is AMD just want to, just forget this car exists? What's going on? So, however, the point I'm bringing and why I'm bringing this car to the channel is because obviously I won't recommend you to buy this car new at these prices. However, you can find this car on eBay for what I think is very decent and good price. Of course, you're always going to find that the price somebody selling it more expensive and so on, but you can always catch an offer or a good price. Okay, so I think this car should cost around $300 to $350, and that's the price you can find on eBay. Of course, it's a used car, but I still think it's a very good price for the performance you're getting out of this car. Okay, and the amount of VRAM and everything that it has. Obviously, the closest to $300 you can get this car, the better. But I think $300 to $400 maximum, depending. I know every country is different, so it's hard to say how much a car should cost, because prices in Latin America are very different, prices in Asia are different, United States is different, so what I consider to be a good price here may be a bad price over there, or maybe over there is even cheaper because whatever. So I cannot pinpoint the exact price for everyone, but I think $300 to $350. If you get it on eBay, you're going to get a very good GPU. Well, you saw the benchmark, so you can get to that conclusion by yourself. It's unfortunate that this car is not more popular and that AMD didn't decide to lower the price on this car, because this car at 350 new or even 399 new will really put AMD on a spot of a very good performance and is going to blow the competition out of the way. But at the prices that you can get this car right now, I don't think is the best. But I will repeat this: if you get this car on eBay and you're looking to, you know, have a middle to high end car and not a middle to low end car, this one is a very good option, at least in my eyes. Let me know what you think about this car. Do you have any theory why this car has these weird prices, which makes absolute no sense? To end this, I have to say I really love the design of this car. This was a Founders Edition car from PowerCall, if I don't remember wrong, and I loved it from the moment I use it. And I barely use it ever. I could sell it, but I don't want to, because it's such a beautiful car and I want to keep it in my collection for testing purposes, you know, when I need it to, maybe in the future. So by now, this is all from me. I hope you like this video, and as always, see you on the next video. Thank you very much.